So you've decided that you no longer want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses because you've done your research and you have seen evidence that Watchtower is a cult and you don't want to be a part of it anymore. What are you going to do now? Let's talk about it. Don't sue me, bro. Hello and welcome to Excellent This Week. I'm your host, Jonathan. Hope that you're having an excellent day. Let's talk about what steps you should take if you decide to get out of the organization. But let's say you're in a position where you're still part of the congregation, but you don't want to be. So what's the best course of action to take? Well, you could decide to disassociate yourself. You could put in a letter and decide, that you don't want to be part of the congregation that way. But you have to keep in mind that if you do, while it gives you a clean cut, it is going to have the effect the same as being disfellowshipped, to where family and friends are not going to talk to you because they, of course, don't alert the congregation why you're gone. You're just, out for apostasy. And that's going to be it. So maybe you decide that you want to instead fade. My father actually was faded. I remember when I was a little kid, I was 7 and I was on a trip with my dad, and I said, why don't you go to the meeting anymore? So it was something that happened when I was younger, and he said that it really wasn't in his heart, therefore he didn't want to go. So he got baptized for the wrong reason. He did it in support of my mom because she was the one who was actually approached at the door, and he just sort of followed suit, and he realized that it wasn't for him. Now, he was lucky in that he wasn't treated poorly by anybody in the congregation. They really kind of left him alone, but anybody that knew him, he was a friendly guy, and they treated him with respect and were happy to see him. But they didn't treat him like he was spiritually weak, even though he would have naturally been thought of as that way, spiritually weak, because he wasn't going to the meetings. So in my dad's situation, it was pretty good, and it could be pretty good for you too if you do it the right way. Let's talk about some of the things that you can do if you decide that you want to fade. I have a list of things, 12 points that I'm going to refer to on this lovely piece of cardboard. First, evaluate your reasons. So you've kind of already done that, in that you have thought about the doctrine, you've thought about the things that you found out. Maybe you got on a website, maybe you saw a report, about the CSA problem, about the money issues, selling kingdom halls, whatever the reason might be that you've decided, maybe it's the 1914 607, whatever the case might be. You've evaluated your reasons and you decided, I've had enough. So what's the next step? Well, you want to gather information. So you want to be up on what things might affect you, what you basically would be facing.
What if a disfellowship person comes to a congregation meeting? Under our current arrangement, we don't say a greeting to individuals who've been removed from the congregation. However, the governing body has decided that publishers can use their Bible-trained conscience to decide whether to give a simple greeting and welcome a disfellowshipped individual who attends a congregation meeting.
Hi, so good to see you here.
Thank you.
While we wouldn't have an extended conversation or socialize with such a person, we do not need to ignore him completely.
Depending on, how you go about doing things, you want to make sure that you're well informed, that you're not surprised by any hidden rules. So maybe look at finding out about what's in the elder's manual that no one else is supposed to see, because that information is going to give you what you need to know, what you can just get disfellowshipped for, and what isn't. What's going on right here? You need to plan your exit then. So that's number 3. How are you going to go about it exactly? What are the steps that you're going to take? You need to have a strategy. You need to give yourself a reasonable timeline. If you just say, I want to get out eventually, that could be who knows how long. And is that really something you're willing to do, to spend the next 5 to 10 years planning to get out and just sort of failing to launch? So, it's kind of like applying for that job or meeting somebody for that date. Sometimes you just have to be brave and do it. Give yourself that timeline that gives you a reason to put things in motion so that you can get out. You want to reduce your activity, so that's number 4. So first thing is the meetings. If you still have the ability to tie in by Zoom, if your congregation is still doing that, I think most are, although they have been pushing for people to not use Zoom, but to actually go to the meetings. But, you're trying to get out, so what do you really care if they want you to do Zoom or want you to physically go to the meetings or not? Yeah, so start cutting back on going. Find excuses not to go. Maybe not cold turkey, because that might bring attention to what you're doing. But skip a meeting here and there, and as you go on in your time frame that you've come up with, start cutting out more meetings until you're basically not going. Field service, that's kind of a given. You probably are not too crazy about the idea of talking to people about the organization. So yeah, do less and less of that. What do you got to lose there? I won't get to have special privileges because I don't go out in service. But it's especially easier now. In years past, you'd have to have a certain amount if you wanted to have some sort of privileges. Not that you're probably interested in that sort of thing anyway. But, there's an expectation that a publisher would have an X amount of hours. And of course, that has been thrown out the window with the new light. And you can just check a box.
Our ministry involves much more than counting time. For this reason, we are pleased to announce that beginning November the 1st, 2023, congregation publishers will no longer be asked to report the amount of time they spend in the ministry, nor will publishers be asked to report their placements, the videos they show, or their return visits. Instead, the field service report will simply have a box that will allow each publisher to indicate that he or she shared in any form of the ministry during the month.
So check a box. You don't have to actually do the service. As long as you can convince them that you did something, check a box. What do you got to lose there? You'll also want to minimize engagement. That's number 5. So when it comes to discussions about doctrine, about things that could get you into a discussion, that you're naturally going to want to talk about what you really feel. So try to avoid those sort of situations to where you're talking about the thing that is really bugging you, because that person you speak to may, in fact, turn you in. So avoid talking to somebody that's going to snitch on you, because that's what they do. They want you to police your brothers and sisters, and they want you to police yourself. So they're looking for you to be guilty about things, and they're looking for brother nosy and sister talk a lot, whatever, to talk to the elders and blow up your situation. Avoid those conversations if you can. If you're invited to go to gatherings and things, well, sometimes those can be fun, but they're not really. But again, you're going to be around a bunch of people that you're trying to wean yourself off of. So do you really need to go to the thing? Probably not. I guess hanging out with the people can be fun sometimes, but if it's going to cause you more problems in the end, you probably want to avoid it. Number 6 is create boundaries. So elders are going to try and talk to you eventually when they notice that things are kind of petering out, that you're no longer going very often, or you're never doing you're not actually in service. Maybe you don't do that part that you were assigned to do. The witnesses have the thing called theocratic warfare, where they're basically, if a person isn't in a position to know a thing, if it's going to cause problems, it's okay to lie. And this is your life. And what do you really owe the brothers and sisters? What do you owe the organization? Nothing. You're trying to get away from it. So if you have to make up a thing, I'm working on some stuff at home. I'm concentrating on my family, my work, having some emotional issues, whatever the case might be that seems that would fit for you. Feel free to tell them that thing. They don't need to know that you don't want to go because you don't agree with it. Just tell them what they need to hear so they'll get off your case. Number 7, find support. So if you're part of the XJW community, you know that there are other XJWs that you can talk to. So even as a PMO, physically and mentally out is what you are, find people that have gone through similar experiences that can give you some advice to help you prepare or just be there for you. It's really important because eventually you're going to lose, whether you get found out or not, you're going to lose all those people that you knew who were your support system, and you need a new one. So you need to work on finding support outside of the group and people that understand. So Discord is a great thing, Facebook groups, Reddit, any of these online communities, or if you're lucky enough to find people in your area that you can meet with in real life, make some actual friends that you can come to count on, and they can count on you, and you've got a new support system that you've created for yourself. I wish that I wrote this stuff a little better. I wish I knew what this said. Make new connections, I think. But that's kind of covered in what I was saying. So as Jehovah's Witnesses, you're supposed to have witness friends. You're not supposed to have worldly friends. But those witnesses are not going to be there for you. So go ahead and get yourself some worldly friends. It's important, they're made out to be evil, or they're made out to be godless people, or any number of derogatory things because they don't serve Jehovah. Well, surprise, the world is not 100% darkness. There are some good people out there, and they just need an opportunity to get to know you, and you need to give an opportunity for them, or for you to know them. That was not smooth. Find an opportunity to talk to people and find out what they're really about, because you might find out that they're not as bad as you think, or that you've been led to believe. Let's see. Manage family dynamics. Dysfunction? I don't know. I really got to get better handwriting. Basically, be prepared, because if you have family that are witnesses, they're gonna pull away from you because you're not going to the meetings anymore, and you want to try and mitigate that as much as possible, because obviously you love your family and you want them to continue to talk to you. So careful how you tread with that, and show them that even though you haven't been going, you're still their family and you still love them, and you still would do whatever you could for them, except go to the meeting. Stay informed. That's number 10. So as rules change, as recently they had the change in how you can greet a disfellowship person, whatever the case might be. It's good to be on top of what's going on in the organization. Not that you want to dwell on it because you're trying to get out of it, but you can do things at your own pace and look at things if you want to. And just, it's a good idea to know what's going on so that you can react to it. If you still live in the area, you're going to be able to deal with seeing people on a regular basis. If you're able to move away, great. If you're able to get another job out of the area, great. Then you have a free, you're free from that influence. The last two, I'm going to have to go here. So seek professional help. So if you can get therapy, that's going to be very valuable, and try and find somebody who is trained in dealing with cults and high control religions. And also stick to your decision. You know, you might be tempted to go back because you're like, I miss the people. Maybe you've got a relative that isn't talking to you, and you might be tempted, but you came to that decision for a reason. And are you going to be happy if you go back? I can almost guarantee you're not going to be happy if you go back. You'd be giving up your freedom and the life that you really want to live in favor of being controlled. So one other thing to mention too, it's important to put away money, deal with job situation, and they have their to-go bags that they do for emergencies. Why not have that for yourself if you need to make a quick escape, to get out, to have certain things that you're trying to get away from. Say you've got an abusive spouse and that's why you want to get out. Have a phone. Have a bank account. You can set up paperless bank accounts to where you don't have to get mail, and set up an email. You don't have to have anybody know that you have that, but you have it set up for yourself for when you do need it. So when you need to get that rent, you've got it. When you need to purchase a vehicle, whatever the case might be, you've got things set in motion for later so that you can make that cut and fade out from the organization. So I've run out of time, and that's all I'm going to have to say on that. So those are the 12 steps. Thank you for watching, and good luck on your journey. If you happen to be in what I've been talking about, it might be difficult, but it is worth it to live your life in the way that you see fit, because you only have one life. There's only one guarantee, and that's right now. Whether there's an afterlife or not, you won't know till you're dead. So live what you got now and live the best life that you can and be happy. And that's it. So until next time, please like, share, and subscribe, and bye for now.